And we're back. So this is going to be part 2 of week 7. We have questions 5 and 6 again. Spencer's going to give us 5, so screen share it up. Ooh. Here we go.
Okay, so the question is, why did Smith not see any sparrow evolution in Mondarte, and what does this teach us about the fossil record? So basically, Smith was searching for evolutionary trends by comparing the generation of sparrows at birth and then at death. And so apparently that was the problem, because then later on Dolph Schluter came by and he decided to modify that and look at the birds year by year rather than once at birth and then again at death. And he even took it farther to break each year into 3 parts, which were survival rates in their first year of life in the Canadian winter, survival as adults each year after, and their succession rearing offspring. The differences between males and females were also shown. So males, for example, the selection would work to eliminate the outliers, which meant that the large and small sizes would be selected against, so you'd get medium-sized birds, which is an example of stabilizing selection. And the females exhibited oscillating selection, and I got this picture to kind of break it down. It's just telling us that selection favors one phenotype at one time and a different phenotype at another time. So, for example, in Galapagos, the wet conditions would favor the small bills, and the dry conditions would favor the big bills. And so it's kind of the same thing with the Canadian winter. As they'd go through different seasons, they would see different preferences for natural selection. And then just to kind of conclude it about how we see it in the fossil record is there are these 2 quotes in the book. And one was, the closer you look at life, the more rapid and intense the rate of evolutionary change. The farther back in time you stand, the less you see. So that was kind of explaining the difference between Schluter and Smith. And then the next one is, the fossil record is just too primitive a motion picture camera to capture the fast-moving life. So that was pretty much the difference in the study. That's why Smith wasn't seeing a lot of evolution, is because he wasn't looking at it, I guess, as frequently to see the differences. So here's question 6.
All right, so question 6 is, why did the Grants originally believe hybrids would be at a disadvantage on the island? And so again, this information can be found on pages 122 and 123. And it says that the Grants believed that hybrid birds would be less fit and therefore would be knocked out by natural selection because they couldn't fit in their niche as well. And they kept seeing that, they believed this because earlier they kept seeing it time after time about how the slightest variation in the finch's beaks could either kill off the species or make the species thrive. So yeah, that does it for this week.
Sounds good.
Happy learning.